Hey everybody, welcome to the program, WRSA Radio. I'm your host, G1, as always. Hope you're having a good week. It's been a busy one for me this week. I've had little time to do the things that I wanted to do and have spent almost all of my time working on things for other people, helping other people's out, that kind of stuff. Had to go to work on a day that I don't normally work, which is a good thing, but not expected, so it's just kind of mess up my whole plan for this week. So this week has not been for me, it has been for others, which is okay. I'm okay with that. But it just kind of messed up my routine, you know? Do you ever get that feeling that sometimes that everything was just aligning against you and your plans? Like this, like something was working to make sure that you didn't do the things that you had in mind? Well, maybe that's for a good reason. I hope that is the case here. I think, maybe I like to hope here that someone wanted me to do something that I didn't plan for, because if I had did the things that I wanted to do, that they would not have turned out well. Anyway, what are we talking about this week? Well, perhaps someone else is facing the same troubles and a greater power is working against them. I am talking about the CEO of Flock Safety, and I want to read a little summary that I pulled from Copilot because I think it's a pretty good aggregator or an aggregate of a bunch of news articles about this particular individual and some of the things that he said, and this summarized it pretty well. Summary of statements made in interview or multiple interviews when asked about the efforts to stop the installation of Flock safety cameras. He's talking about DFlock, which is an activist organization led by Will Freeman that monitors and maps Flock Safety's license plate reader cameras, helping local communities organize against the deployment of these surveillance systems. Flock Safety, valued at $8.3 billion, operates a network of 80,000 surveillance cameras across the U.S., and sells participation access to law enforcement agencies, which I think is the big problem there. Garrett Langley, CEO of Flock Safety, referred to DFlock as a terroristic organization, framing their activism as a threat to public safety and law enforcement operations. He also sent emails to Flock's law enforcement clients portraying critics as coordinated activists trying to normalize lawlessness and let murderers go free, while dismissing privacy concerns as attacks on Flock and the police. These statements were widely criticized for portraying legitimate civic dissent as malicious or criminal. And what those kind of emails do is they set a mindset for the police officers to be automatically confrontational and opposed to anyone who's just protesting and concerned about their civil rights. So that's a very, very bad, very negative precedent there. As public scrutiny over Flock's surveillance practices intensified, including concerns about mistaken identities, out-of-state surveillance, and AI-related misidentification, Langley faced growing criticisms from the media, privacy advocates, and local officials. Communities and law enforcement leaders pushed back, emphasizing that citizens' rights to question surveillance operations are part of democratic accountability. I'm not sure how accurate that statement is from Copilot. I've seen pushback. I'm not sure that I've seen significant. There have been law enforcement people that I have seen interviewed that have been part of that pushback. So I'm just not sure how much of that is there. It's certainly there. I don't know that it's widespread, though. Responding to criticism, Langley publicly apologized in a Forbes interview, acknowledging that calling DFlock terroristic was a mistake. He recognized the validity of their criticism and emphasized the company's intent to find a balance between public safety and individual privacy. This marked a shift from a combative stance to a more conciliatory approach, although concerns remain regarding Flock's hands-off stance when its technology is misused by law enforcement. Yes, so it's bad for you to try to demand accountability from me, but I'm going to completely distance myself when officers are caught misusing the system. And you've got no comment when that happens. Yeah, I see. Despite the apology, Flock continues to face scrutiny over data privacy, improper use of license plate readers, and partnerships with law enforcement agencies. DFlock and similar tracking initiatives have gained traction as a method to increase transparency and accountability in the deployment of surveillance technologies. Langley has defended the company's practices as necessary for public safety, but distanced himself from directly managing law enforcement use of data. Now, I'm sure that the CEO does see anyone pushing back on his product as a serious problem. That's expected. Anyone who's running a big major company like this is going to have, they're going to push back. They're going to minimize any accountability or minimize any downside of the things that they're doing. That's just modern America. Calling people terrorists is, of course, ridiculous and completely uncalled for. It's typical behavior in modern America. However, as people are all too, quick to go for maximum escalation and evoke, the most hated labels for the most minor opposition. But we have to kind of expect that from these people. I'm mostly cautious about the cameras myself because I'm pretty well informed about them. I actually, at one point, applied to Flock Safety for a project manager position. Didn't get the job, obviously, but which may be a good thing. But anyway, I know that they are a technology that is, in and of itself, it's benign. Technology, for the most part, exceptions are out there, but for the most part, technology in and of itself is neutral. Okay. In this case, they are mostly useful. Okay. We've had surveillance cameras for decades, and in fact, they've been rather helpful in solving serious crimes like murders and kidnappings. And there have been people who have been misidentified from those surveillance cameras. There's an entire show on that ID channel, that investigative discovery channel, dealing with just this subject, crimes that were solved by video surveillance. One might argue that's part of the conditioning to get people to accept video surveillance. But the fact of the matter is, I have surveillance cameras at my house. I can access them remotely. I like to be able to do that in case I'm not here. And so I can see what's going on around my house if somebody comes to the door, this kind of thing. Or is, just hanging around the house that shouldn't be there. They have no business being here. So I have cameras on my private property. Why would I object to cameras in public? Because on the flip side of this, the likelihood that those will be abused by people who have access to them. In fact, this past week, we had officers from, I believe it was multiple police departments. I know it was the city of Atlanta. These officers were dismissed and arrested for abusing their access to the Flock camera systems. Many of these cameras are not just on public property as well. They are on private property. For example, Walmart has began to install Flock cameras, and they are just feeding that information, that stream right to local law enforcement, which really raises concerns about the use of private business to circumvent constitutional protections. But that's the issue that we have out there. You and I have no expectation of privacy in a public space. If you watch enough legal YouTube, particularly the First Amendment and Second Amendment auditor videos, you're going to hear a reference to that fact in almost every one of those videos by the people filming. These are the people who are advocates of the First Amendment and Second Amendment in many cases. And they're out there and they're filming and they're interacting with police officers or others who, accost them and say, you've got to give me ID. You can't be filming here. No, I'm filming in public. You have no expectation of privacy. Well, this is the very freedom that we demand and expect is being used to film us in public. And so we can't demand that we have the right to record and film and then profess problems and say that we're not okay with other people filming us. So it's kind of a tough situation. I don't like the idea of these cameras being linked to AI. And this is kind of the big change since we've had these surveillance cameras for so long. This is the big change with it. This AI is providing automated alerts to police. We've seen already in the very early days of this system an alarming number of false alerts and misidentifications. And again, this is not just happening with Flock, this is happening with other systems as well, other companies. Too many people are being confronted by police and arrested because some facial ID or license plate reader flagged them as a criminal suspect. Oh, you've got a warrant out, this kind of thing. And then only to be proven beyond a doubt that they are not, in fact, the person that the system thought that they were. It's only a matter of time before police kill somebody due to this false identification. I don't believe that it's happened yet. I'm not aware of anything. Maybe somebody out there is. But it's a very, very slippery situation. It's a very dangerous situation. And there needs to be some kind of stops put into place, some kind of procedures that are put into place that you're not supposed to be able to get a warrant based just off of a AI identification. But there have been multiple instances of detectives and police officers getting warrants for arrest or stopping somebody and arresting them based off of AI identification. That cannot be the only thing that triggers somebody being arrested. We've got to have something in there that stops that. I've recently seen 2 Flock cameras in my area, which is the middle of nowhere, North Georgia. So don't think this is just a big city thing. It's coming to you everywhere. Okay? And we have to be out in front of this. And I believe that the solution to this is to demand legislation that requires any and all cameras that are monitored by the police or on the behalf of the police or government agencies, anything that's monitored by them or monitored for them and provided to them, we demand that be publicly accessible via the internet, live by everyone. So I create an account and I go in and I get to see those just like everybody else does, just like the police do. If it's good enough for us, it's good enough for them. If they can film us with a system that we, the taxpayers, pay for, then damn it, I want that same level of access to those cameras and that data. I want to be able to see it too. If we demand that, if we get that put in place, that might be the only thing that curtails the misuse of this. I don't know, at least by the government. Anyway, that is all the time I have this week. Like and subscribe. Come see us over on Gab. Nice crew in the mothership. Hit us up on the merch store, and I'll see you on the next episode.